Hello, Limit Breakers. Hope you're having an awesome day so far. Just jumping on to talk about digital transformation. What and how are you showing up online? Now, this is one of the first questions I ask any of my clients in my consultations is what happens if I was to look up your business or look at your name on Google? What shows up first? Now, I dropped this little story in one of the interviews I had with my friend Matthew, King of Video. For those that wants to start setting on the YouTube and live videos, you can speak to Matthew. I could put you in contact with him. But I shared on his interview about what happens when you search for John O'Poon, right? You see all my social media, you see all my posts, my website, my podcasts, everything with John O'Poon is under Google. You see me first online. All of my stuff is on there, right? Now, what I did share on the story was prior to John O'Poon, I was Jonathan Poon. And for those that known me since I was a kid, whatnot, throughout university, throughout college, school, they all knew me as Jonathan Poon. That was my full name. The reason why I changed it from Jonathan Poon to John O'Poon was because, and this is a strategy behind it, the strategy because Jonathan Poon on Google comes up as a Michelin star chef in Hong Kong. Now, with that PR coverage on Google, there was no way I was going to get anywhere near the first page of Google with Jonathan Poon. So therefore, I changed it to John O'Poon, and I've taken over it. I've taken over johnopoon.com with everything that I've put online, all the content I've created with podcasts, interviews, Toastmasters, LinkedIn, Medium articles, blogs, videos, all sorts. I'm there, right? Images, it's just me. There's no one else. Not that I know of anyway. If there is, then I need to go hunt and create more content and kick them off it. But yeah, that's the profile of building your personal brand, your digital transformation, how you show up, how you look, how you are online. So even on Google Images, I see now, I'm just looking at it, all the images and things I posted so far, collaborations, interviews, testimonials, podcasts. Yeah, so the first thing is always look at how do you show up on Google. Number one thing, I always ask that. And then from that on, you look at what medium platforms you're using. Are you using social media with Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok? Where are you building your audience? How do they get in contact with you? Are they on podcasts? All these things. And once they do get in contact with your content, do they land on your landing pages? Do they get a PDF? Do they go on your videos, on YouTube, on your live videos? What happens, right? What's the contact? What's the first point of contact? How do they get engaged? How do they engage with your content? How long do they consume your content? Do they contact you afterwards after consuming your content? Is there a call to action? Which goes into your sales funnel strategy, which is number 2. Do you just post a product, a service, and they just click through and buy, and they get an autoresponder and say thank you for shopping with us? Or do they get a follow-up email and say thank you for your custom, you get a coupon for the next order, make sure to join our Facebook group, make sure to join our community? Do they get a newsletter, weekly, monthly? What else? How do you nurture them? Do you keep them on with your customers list? Do you keep prospecting them? Or do you get to the point where you just stop all forms of communication and only communicate when you need to sell something, which I see a lot of coaches and consultants do. Is they only email their list when they have something to sell, and they don't nurture their list or their customers or the prospects. Even B2B companies that I worked with as well, large organizations, they only email out when they have something to sell. I'm just like, well, don't you have anything of value to nurture or give your potential list? And they said, like, no. They only send things when they have something to sell. It's like, well, that's not really good engagement, is it? You're just constantly selling to a list. They just get bored and get frustrated that you're constantly selling. You're not helping them or solving their problems that they have. You're not even engaging with them. You're not even asking questions. What's troubling them? What's stopping them from sleeping at night? What keeps them up at night? Those are kind of questions that you want to ask your clients. That's what you want to help your clients with as well. So then number 2 was sales strategy. Number 3, the closing process, which is the sales process. Really, do you have how easy is it for your clients to buy from you? Do you have testimonials, credibility, Google reviews, Trustpilot, referrals, any guarantees you provide, any assurance policies that you put in place? So that's pretty much sales process, really. I think this is the part that most people kind of forget is the sales process. They kind of get them on board and then just forget everything else. I think that's something I'm still working on as well, by the way. So I'm not saying I'm perfect. Number 4, client management. Once they do start working with you, what's the onboarding process? Do you have a system and tools that you get them on board? Or do you have a project management plan? What's that follow-up process like? Do you email your clients weekly? How do you keep them accountable if you need stuff from them? And how do you keep ensuring you're constantly adding value to your clients? So these are all the basic 4 things to get started with any digital transformation. Number 1, the media platform. 2, sales strategy. 3, the closing process. And 4, client management. And as easy as those 4 stages are, there's a lot of work that goes behind it, and a lot of details as well. How often you email your clients, how often you keep in contact, when do you nurture them, what do you nurture them with, how do you add more value? Those are all a lot of details in there. But even those 4 stages, it's a lot of work, and a lot of big organizations I see and worked in have never got right. They just firefighting constantly all the time. And those are the struggles I see mostly, is even lead generation. Lead generation and follow-ups. The most basic sales process is the hardest for them. I've worked with big corporations. They generate millions, yet their sales guys don't track their leads. So I wonder how much more, how much money they could be losing per lead, per sale. Even in the follow-ups and quotation processes, right? So even then, those are quite. Everyone has got those processes in place that need to work on, and even for small businesses, those are the easiest to get started, easiest to tweak, and especially when you have less people involved, it's much easier to tweak the process and refine the strategy within it, because you got less discussions and less decision makers, right? A lot of organizations and big companies I worked with, I had to go through the manager, I had to go through the board director, I had to go through the stakeholders before any decisions being made. Is that by that time, you've fallen behind and you don't actually implement anything that you set out to implement. And that's just big organization. So when you're a smaller business and you're the business owner, or you're the only decision maker, then it's easier for you to just tweak and change things pretty quickly. And that's, I think that's, I know everyone doesn't like this word, but as actually, I'm not even gonna say that word. Just change direction, change the strategy, change your perspective, and make that move. Right? Don't be afraid to change something that you've been trying and doesn't work, or even ask someone who has expertise in that area for assistance, and give that a go and see what, a new perspective. We don't know what we don't know, right? So it's always worth reaching out and just asking other people who work in that field, who work in strategy, who work in funnels, or work in social media management, sales, client management, CRMs, whatnot, systems, processes, those kind of people, right? And that's it. I am going to keep it short today because I always talk about that I've always stay on for too long. But that's all. Enjoy your weekend. Don't forget my live chat show for tonight is 9:30 p.m. with Dilara Tidek and Iklok for the Love and Relationship Chat Show. Peace out and see you later.